I'm absolutely certain I'm about to tell half of you exactly what you don't want to hear. Half of you are looking to pick up some properties for rental arbitrage, and you're waiting for me to tell you exactly how to do it. I think I'm going to disappoint you in this video. So I brought you some scotch. I'm going to share a glass with you here. This is a Balvenie 12 year. It's probably my favorite, aside from the Caribbean cask. So long story short, you guys know that sales is probably my biggest superpower by now. You've heard that I sold newspapers, and I lived off of selling newspapers for over 10 years. I went homeless, you know the whole story. So building scripts and designing systems that cause people to say yes is something that I'm very, very good at. But that's also why you see me not constantly pitching a course at you, even though I sell one, right? Because I also believe that sales is something that requires a lot of responsibility. And since I'm good at sales, I've kind of made it my whole goal not to try to sell you guys stuff, because that would not be fair to you, right? You're my family. So anyway, some scotch for you. I guess for me, but I'm acting like it's for you. So it's cold out here, guys. It's super cold here in Dallas. In this video, I want to talk to you about why I haven't given you my sales script, but what I can teach you in this video should hopefully get you most of the way there. The reason why I cannot give you all my sales script on exactly what I say to landlords and apartment complexes is because there's a few of you watching, just a few of you. This video could get hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of views, and there's just enough of you back there on the other side of the camera that would completely misuse that script and just screw people over, that I can't put it into the world. I just ethically cannot do that. Here's a dynamics thing I want to explain. Sales works when it's working. And the moment that everybody starts doing what's working, it stops working. So if somebody comes up to you, knocks on your door and says, hey, have you considered making money with Airbnb on your property? If you're the first few people on the planet to ever say something like that, people will be like, what's Airbnb, right? That's a great place to be in a sale. Now, a lot of you know that Airbnb's been around for a while. There's been a lot of hosts around for a while. So there's a lot of reputation on the platform or around the platform. That means that we have to be much more careful with how we approach apartment complexes, landlords, etc. And that's on you guys now. Break. Cold weather. Baggy sweater, scotch, how nice. What I can tell you is what it takes to make a good script. In the script that I teach people, and I should probably give you a little bit here because I want to help dispel some misinformation. And I've mentioned this in a previous video, guys. There's some of you out there, a lot of you are doing the right thing. So don't take this the wrong way, YouTube. Some of you out there are selling these corporate housing lists that are buildings that allow corporate housing. And even if those lists meant well, and for a time were accurate, that even though corporate housing does not mean Airbnb, let's assume that this corporate housing list was a list of buildings that were partially Airbnb friendly. That stuff changes all the time. I just had a deal fall through in McKinney, Texas. We're pushing up north, northeast. We're trying to find different suburbs that are going to be profitable, and I think McKinney's going to be one of them. You guys can take that to the bank. But we had a deal go sour because management changed. They flipped the whole agreement that we had and wanted us to start paying $50 per person for background checks. And that's expensive. We can negotiate that down typically, but this is just where it died. So even if 2 weeks ago I told you this place is a slam dunk, you should get some deals too, now 2 weeks later the deal's dead, right? And then you could be pushing in going, yeah, I do corporate housing, blah, 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 not actually getting permission to Airbnb because you didn't ask, you just assumed, and then you get evicted. This happens. So these corporate housing lists, even if they were at one point accurate, they're not updated. And people are getting evicted left and right from these things. And this is just one of those signs of the lack of care, lack of responsibility in the world here. And so what I can tell you is the front end of my script does use the phrase corporate housing. And I introduce myself as corporate housing to landlords and apartment complexes when we're going in the front door, right? When we're going through the leasing office for two different reasons. With apartment complexes, we're only doing it to make sure that we can apply because we're applying as a business. And the person on the phone is not a decision maker. They don't deserve any information yet, but we need to ask them a pretty straightforward question can our company apply and get approved potentially? If they can't even process an LLC application, there's no point in even talking to them. So we introduce ourselves on the phone as a corporate housing company just because they need to understand that they're processing an LLC's application. With a landlord, when we call them on the phone and introduce ourselves as a corporate housing company, it's because there's enough similarities there that a landlord can start to get the gist that we're not a traditional applicant, we're a business, and if he knows anything about the corporate housing model, he knows that we're going to furnish it and put somebody in there. That's a great place to start. But God, it's not even halfway to getting the deal done. There's so much stuff in a lease that you need to get in writing permission to do. And if I gave you guys all my exact literal play-for-play script, 10,000 of you would go knock down doors. Like, there's only a couple hundred apartment complexes in Dallas worth doing Airbnb. And there'll be thousands of you in Dallas, Fort Worth alone, knocking down these same couple hundred buildings. Imagine that like shift where these buildings start getting the same exact approach 10 times a day, 20 times a week. It would no longer work. So I can't give you guys my literal script because my script would then stop working. And my very small community of students who use it globally would then have to change and adapt. And even in cities like Houston, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, we do have to change and adapt. Because as this becomes more elegant, there are people who do stupid stuff to apartment complexes and burn them. And so we are trying to get into buildings that are mad at other Airbnb hosts. And I've had to build a whole system for that too. And it's fun in a way because I love challenges, but it's definitely sticky. And there's no simple way to give you guys a video, put it into the universe, and expect it all to go well. So what I can do is I can teach you how to build a pitch. This is how to build a pitch so you can make your own. Whenever you're pitching somebody anything, you should always be looking at their best interests. You should be looking at their benefit. You should be also looking at what their risks are, what their weaknesses are, what are they afraid of. You're going to use both their fear of bad and their hope of good, and you're going to create a cocktail. Except I don't drink cocktails, do I? So you probably couldn't pitch me. But, okay, take that back. I'll drink some cocktails. You know what? A whiskey sour, but made with Lafroig scotch, like a really smoky scotch and an egg white, it's the best. You vegans out there, I'm sorry. You take what they're afraid of, and you solve that problem. And you take what they want, and you make it an added benefit. If you understand the concept of a benefit, you're already ahead of a lot of salespeople. See, a benefit is I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you a concession within a deal. I'm going to give you a trinket, an item. I'm going to give you something. That something has a value, but the value becomes personalized if you know what the specific benefit is for the person you're giving it to. See, if I gave $1 to a kid, the benefit to that kid is different than if I gave $1 to that kid's parents, right? The kid's parents are like, man, I can pay, a bill, right? Like $1 is a really small amount of money for this example, but you get it. The function of the dollar changes, where the kid's like, I'm gonna go to the candy store and get some candy, right? So the benefit to the kid is they get to experience something sweet, right? Where the benefit to the parents is more stability, their ability to provide for their kids. It's completely different emotional strings here, right? So the whole point is if I give a landlord my rent check, even my rent check can have different benefits to different landlords, depending on if they constantly have to evict people, or if they have a whole building that's completely empty and they need to get it leased up fast, or they're trying to make their paperwork look good for a mortgage, right? So my cash will mean different things to different landlords. So my first tip for you is to listen to the person that you're trying to sell your business model to. Think about it. Any landlord that you call, and here's the second tip, you're going to meet them in person. So any landlord that you call to meet them in person to talk about the deal, it's going to be super important that you open up that conversation and get it to flow. And if you can get it to flow, the landlord will tell you all about what they like, what they don't like about being a landlord, right? You're going to build your presentation. You're going to build you're going to have facts about your business model. You're going to offer him consistent rent money, all the benefits, like the four pitch points, that previous video. Let me show you the thumbnail here. Take that and inject it into this video, okay? And give the landlord the reasons why you're awesome for him, but turn those 4 pitch points towards their exact specific need or fear. And now the landlord should go, whoa, I never thought that Airbnb or rental arbitrage could solve all of my problems. That's a pitch, making them realize that you are beneficial for them. And I've got a sick ton of techniques that I teach my students. Ones that I can talk a landlord into going to buy another house if I wanted to. I talk developers into going and picking up more apartment complexes. That's what I do. I can talk a landlord into giving me $500,000 of rent for free on a big deal, right? I can't get $500,000 for free on one house, but if we're talking about a high rise, I can get that landlord to hook me up with $500,000 off my leases. So, influence is largely about doing the right thing for the other person and knowing how to make it like sound really nice. If you're focused on making your deal work for them, you're gonna get more deals done. A lot of you are so concerned about whether or not somebody's gonna do something for you. Hey, could you let me arbitrage? Hey, could you give me a chance? That's too focused on you, and that's half your problem in sales. You need to connect with the person, find out where their heart is, meet them there, and then walk them to their solution where their solution is you. But you need to know enough about them to know why you are their solution. So, the reason why I'm not going to give you my full script is because some of you, sorry, the rare few of you out there, don't care about doing the right thing for a landlord or for a building. You just want money. That's all you care about. And in sales, you're in service to your customer. You are a powerful person. It's a dark magic. And for that reason, you have to kind of sign up for a life of being the good guy if you want to be good at sales. That's my whole shtick, guys. And a fun fact, I will have you know that my students, they don't get the script. I don't hand them a script like this. They don't get to go read through it and go, oh, this is a cool script, I'm going to memorize that. They have to go through lectures and training to understand the psychology of the script, the mental approach, why we say what we say, what we're trying to do in the deal, what the end goal is, and the boundaries that we need to stay within. They need to understand everything about our sale. They don't just get to have a printed script and skip ahead and go the day two, go run the script over to an apartment complex and start talking. They're not allowed to do that. I will never print my script. You'll never see it on a sheet of paper passed around. That would be the most damaging thing because people are lazy. Even people who pay me $5,000 for coaching are lazy. Maybe that's why they pay me $5,000 for coaching, is they'd like to skip forward because they just happen to have the money. But just like a lot of you, I started with no coaching, no mentors, no YouTube channel. I started with my own experience. And yes, lucky me, I had by the time I started doing Airbnb, I had 8 years of sales experience. So the fact that I was running $1 million business already and had 8 years sales experience, that all just came together. But let me tell you, I suck at design. Still suck at design, I'm working on it, but I'm getting better at painting, as you saw in a previous video. And I'm getting better at all the aspects of hospitality. So you're trying to learn sales. I'm trying to learn hospitality. Welcome to the movement, guys. So if you have questions that I can't answer, I will try my best. I am sorry if I can't answer them all because I need to keep some things proprietary and safe, either for my students or for humanity at large. I'll answer what I can. But I do have other videos on how to sell, how to negotiate, and I promise you, if you actually cared enough, you could piece this video together with 4 or 5 other ones on the channel, and you could build a script very similar to the one that I use, and go pick up some buildings. And if you connected the dots enough, you could start getting free rent too. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay warm. Sorry, Dallas. I'll see you on the other side.